So this update's just gonna be kind of a hodgepodge of random little things I've worked on. Right now I'm just kind of playing the waiting game. I'm waiting for exhaust nuts, which are coming from Bellmetric. I'm waiting for this last little guard that goes down here. That's coming from FCP. My friend is letting me borrow his timing kit so I can set the timing. I didn't realize I needed one. This is the first time I've worked with a M42 in 10 years now. So I need to set the timing, and then once I set the timing, I can do my oil pump, then I can do my thermostat, and then I can put this case on, and then I can just put everything else together. And then I'll be ready to put the engine in the car. The only thing left to do in the car really is the brake lines and put the suspension back in. For this build, I had 3 transmission options. The stock Getrag 240, a ZF 5-speed out of an E36, or a Getrag 6-speed. The original Getrag 240 won't be able to handle the power of the turbocharged M42. The E36 ZF would actually handle the power just fine, and I even have a custom drive shaft to go with it. But I found a really good deal on this 6-speed out of I think a 2005 ZHP, so that's what I'm gonna go with. Something I forgot to go over in my last video was my entire timing case. So the timing case I'm using is out of a 1995 318 Ti, and the reason for that is later M42s use the slider instead of a sprocket, and the sprocket goes right here on the original one, and while it looks pretty solid, it's not. They really skimped out on casting right there, and what happens is the aluminum will fracture, and then this entire post right here just rips off. And where I'm turboing the engine, I really don't want that one stupid little thing to be the reason the whole engine detonates. For my oil feed, I'm gonna make a hose out of this hose from Jegs and some AN fittings. And this one I had to get locally at a race shop. So this is gonna go into the back of the head. And it's a M12 by 1.5 to a -4 AN thread. And so I bought this in a 3-foot section. You can buy them in 3-foot or 6-foot sections. So I've never put these together, so let's give it a shot. There we go. And that in there. From what I've read, don't need to tighten this all that much. Alright. There we go. So I'm pulling my oil feed from this port on the back of the head, and it's a M1.5 or M12 by 1.5, and I'm going to hook up the right angle end of that hose to it. I'm going to wait till it's in the car because I'm worried about smashing it into my firewall as I put the engine in, because I'm not totally sure about clearance. And if I don't clear, then I'm going to have to pull from somewhere else. As a mock-up, this is what it will look like coming out of the head. And then come up and then feed into the turbo. I'm realizing now that I should probably have another right angle on this end, so I'm going to order one of those, and it'll be here in time for me to throw it on before it's in the engine. So I wasn't really thinking, and I really should have put my main seal on before I did the head, because now the whole engine weighs a lot, and to get to the main seal location, I need to take these two arms off the engine mount. So what I've done is I've lifted the engine up like 1/2 inch and put it on this piece of wood. So there isn't really any weight on these arms anymore. So the weight's on these arms and there. So I'm gonna take these two arms off and hopefully snake in there and get my seal on. First thing I'm going to do is put on my seal. And then this cap goes on. And this will slide right over that, like so. Now it's just a matter of bolting everything down. All right. So I can't get a torque wrench in there, obviously. There's no clearance for it, so I'm gonna have to torque everything down correctly when I'm getting ready to put the transmission on. But for now, everything's just snugged up, and that'll allow me to move on and put the oil pan and everything else together. For the oil pan, I'm actually not using a paper gasket. Instead, I'm just using straight Permatex Ultra Black. And it's really important to get it where these cracks are, because even if you use a OEM gasket, they tend to leak. I'm going to torque all of these to 13 Newton meters.